Hello everyone and welcome to CryptoRed, the crypto news channel. Today we're going to talk about ZachXBT, who has just revealed a number of things about the co-founder of Ripple, Chris Larsen, who allegedly sold XRP tokens. We're going to talk about a lot of other things related to XRP, things unrelated to XRP. We're going to talk about Donald Trump and his working group on cryptocurrencies. The result should be coming in the next few days. We'll also talk about ICOs, which could make a comeback following the American regulation that is currently being passed, and a lot of other stuff. Improvement on the Solana network and many other news items. We'll start with the price of cryptocurrencies. BTC $118,000. It hasn't moved much. Ethereum $3,600. Bigger drop for XRP tokens, minus 8%. And a lot of other tokens are down today. So let's talk about Solana. Solana, you should know that yesterday there was an increase in the capacity of the Solana network. It happened yesterday with the update SIMD0256. This is a technical term, but which meant that now there is 60 million CUs. That is the capacity, the compute unit of the network. So it's how many transactions per second, if we want to simplify, are happening on the Solana network. Now there are currently around 1,700 transactions per second, and they will increase this by 66% in the next few months. They want to do another upgrade. For reference, Ethereum is at 20 transactions per second. But Solana's strategy is not really based on L2s like Ethereum at the moment. They are more in the mindset of increasing the performance of the Solana network, which is fairly different strategy from Ethereum with its L2s and its main network. There are two different strategies for the scaling of Ethereum. In any case, it's interesting to see that Solana continue to develop and improve the performance of its network. Then we're going to talk about the tokenization of real-world assets with Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs has just entered into a partnership with BNY, a very, very large bank, to launch a tokenized money markets fund. It's basically funds that allow exposure to treasury bond yields. It's a huge industry, the money markets fund, and they're going to bring that onto the blockchain. There are already several projects that have brought similar products onto the public blockchain. BlackRock, for example, also has some funds like this. And in short, this type of products already exist. But here, Goldman Sachs is coming in. Now, the point that bothers me a little is that they're not talking about public blockchains. They're talking about BNY owns blockchain system. So it still looks a lot like a private blockchain, which is a shame. For me, the kind of things that need to happen, this kind of thing need to happen on public blockchain. Otherwise, it loses most of its value. Even if they say this will bring performance improvement, for instance, there won't be any market closure, but it's really not that good. But well, let's wait and see what will happen with this. BlackRock has already declared that tokenization was the future. Goldman Sachs now seems to think the same, and there are a few projects like this. Circle, for me, a stablecoin issuer, is kind of a tokenization play also, because it's the tokenization of the dollar, and it's already listed on the stock market in the United States. Then let's talk about ICOs, fundraising events. They had almost disappeared in recent years, but they are making a comeback with the new Trump administration. We've seen, for example, the ICO of World Liberty Financial, Trump's project, but also Pump.Fun, which had a major ICO recently. Right now, there's a new legal framework in the United States being prepared, the Clarity Act, which is in the process of being approved, which reauthorize ICOs under certain conditions. If the tokens are not considered securities, then there's a legal framework being defined around that. For instance, if no dividends are distributed with these tokens, company would be allowed to raise up to $75 million per year for 4 years, which is actually quite a lot. The whole point of this article of Decrypt is to say that we might soon see a new ICO boom. Even though there's still some legal uncertainty, in the text it's written that token must not have any direct or indirect link to the project profits. But when you take a governance token, for instance, it may not have a direct link to revenues, but it has indirect link because it allows you to manage the protocol treasury, and that treasury comes from the protocol profits. So in reality, you indirectly benefit from the profit, and that could be interpreted as being a security and therefore fall under the SEC regulation outside of this. scope of this. So yeah, there's still some gray areas, but according to experts, this will be clarified later. There will be other laws or legal decisions that will further define everything, but it's already a good thing to have ICOs, to have a legal framework for ICOs, like Europe have for MiCA, but it's quite heavy in Europe to launch ICOs. Hopefully it will be lighter in the US. Then the working group on cryptocurrency of Donald Trump is supposed to deliver its conclusion on July 31st. So yeah, in the next few days, this working group was initiated with many different actors, and a lot of issues are expected to be clarified by this working group, but the most anticipated one is the topic of a Bitcoin reserve. We're eagerly waiting to see what will come out of this. Will the US purchase Bitcoin? Will they limit it to Bitcoin already seized? Let me tell you, if it's limited to seized Bitcoin, there are issues, because most of the seized Bitcoin are supposed to be returned to the victims of the crime, such as in the Bitfinex case. So the US actually doesn't have that many BTC available. They don't have 200,000 Bitcoins that belong to them. In any case, we're looking forward to the outcome of this working group. It's highly anticipated. Next, let's talk about XRP. Aside from today's almost 10% drop, it's a cryptocurrency that's doing very well. They have just overtaken, in terms of market cap, companies like Pepsi, Uber, BlackRock, and soon McDonald's. It's massive. We're talking about $184 billion in market cap. That's about half of Ethereum market cap. It's a lot more than BNB and almost double Solana's market cap. So XRP is doing very well, and its community is also thriving. The fact that the SEC lawsuit is over is also good news for the XRP token. But today I want to tell you about a more worrying point. It comes from ZachXBT, the blockchain analyst expert. He's a genius detective who managed to uncover all sorts of connection and stuff in the blockchain. He just revealed that Ripple co-founder Chris Larsen has allegedly transferred 50 million XRPs, which represent $175 million, to multiple addresses, including $140 million to exchanges. So basically, it means that he's selling. Otherwise, there would be no reason to transfer to exchanges. And that's causing some concern, because it suggests that the co-founder is actively selling his tokens. What has also been revealed is that he still holds $2.8 billion worth of XRP tokens. In fact, 2.8 billion XRP tokens, which represent approximately $8 billion. So that's huge. That represents, as we can see, 8 billion out of 184 billion. That's about 5% of all the XRP tokens. What's especially concerning is that he seems to be continuing this regular selling. I've already seen articles about a few months ago reporting previous sales by Chris Larsen. He's regularly dumping. Some might say it's a way to distribute the tokens and make the holder base more decentralized, but in practice, he seems to be dumping. XRP, or more precisely Ripple, the company, also regularly dumps. I found an interesting article that confirms what I've been saying for a while. Ripple owns a huge portion of all XRPs. According to this article, they own 42% of the total supply. These tokens are held in escrow wallets. They can unlock a certain amount each month. They regularly unlock large quantities and then do what they want with this. They can sell those tokens or relock them. For the most part, they relock, but they have still sold a significant amount. They used to hold more than 50% of the supply, and after several years, they're now down to 42%. So clearly, there has been some sales happening. In the end, this hasn't really hurt the XRP token, and as it still reached an all-time high a few days ago, but it's important to be aware of this. Ripple isn't the only one in this situation. Binance also owns a large portion of the BNB token supply. They clearly hold a major share of all BNB tokens, but I haven't seen any dumping, at least in all the different blockchain analysis I've seen. It seems like Binance is more focused on regularly burning BNB tokens. That said, at some point, if they own a large quantity of BNB, it's time to benefit from it, so they will probably sell. There's also a token benefiting from what's currently happening with XRP. It's Flare, or FLR, which just hit a 6-month high. It's a layer 1 blockchain which is benefiting from the XRP situation because it allows protocols that weren't originally designed to support smart contracts, like XRP or even BTC, to bridge over to a blockchain that supports them. They have an entire bridge system for migrating easily to their blockchain and enabling DeFi through a wrapped XRP token called FXRP. This allows people to earn yield, participate in liquidity pools, and more. The token has also been performing well. TVL has increased recently, and according to this analysis, that's also benefiting XRP. I think it's great to enable a token to participate in DeFi. XRP itself realized it was missing this capability, so they launched their own blockchain, or more precisely a sidechain. It's not L2, but rather a separate blockchain that is still connected to the original XRP ledger. This sidechain supports smart contracts. It's currently not developed, but they're trying to make people use this chain, because for now, not a lot of people use this new chain, this new sidechain. Now let's talk about a hedge fund called Asymmetric that had the strategy of shorting Ether in a certain way. They weren't very bullish on ETH and were very much more bullish on Solana. It was a liquid fund, meaning you could invest in it and it would invest in the crypto markets on your behalf. But eventually people start posting the fund result, and it has lost 78% of its value. That's massive. One person shared a screenshot showing they have invested almost $13 million and ended up with $2 billion. Clearly they mismanaged the fund. Now they're saying we're shutting down the fund and we'll focus on VC or illiquid investment that aren't just tied to the market. But well, you have a hedge fund trying hard to beat the market and they end up losing 78%. Be careful if you think you have the skills to outperform the market. Just remember there are hedge funds and companies that specialize in this, and even they fail to perform. So truly be cautious. That's all I wanted to share with you today about the latest crypto news. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow for more. Bye.